Hello, friends. Dr. Victoria here, and we're still in the midst of this COVID-19 coronavirus scare, and I know we're all looking for answers still and needing some hope. Today, I wanted to talk to you about standing in the gap, and I'm taking this teaching from Ezekiel 22, starting. I guess I'll start with verse 23. Well, let me just tell you a little bit about it. First of all, God is very upset with Israel, upset with the priesthood, upset with the people who are really going about life in such a way that they've forgotten God. They are taking innocent lives. They're not taking care of the widows. The priests are giving false prophecies. There seems to be chaos in the land. Nobody really has been submitted to God, but they're each doing their own thing, involved in sin and debauchery and all of these different things that we know aren't a part of the God's character and his what He calls for us to behave and how He calls for us to live. So with that idea as the precedent, we see here that God is angry. And I'll start with verse 29. It says, "The people of the land have oppressively blackmailed, plundered, and robbery, wronged the poor and needy, and abused the outside unjustly. I searched for someone among them who would build the wall, who would build a hedge against this type of evil, and stand in the breach, stand in the gap against it before me for the land, so that I would not destroy it. But I found no one. Therefore, I have poured out my fury on them. I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath. I have brought their own way upon their heads." It is a declaration of Adonai. So, kind of a scary thought. But notice that God has a contingency. You know, when we look in the scripture, He always says that He'll take care of us, that He would keep the deadly plague away from us, that if we would just make Him number one, if we would submit ourselves to Him and walk in His ways and not be selfish, but be selfless. What we see in this scenario is the people were selfish. The people had forgotten God. We must remember Him. We must remember to walk in His path, to walk in obedience to His word. Make Him number one, not second, but number one in our life. Submit our will to Him. And then we will see all of these things added unto us. We will see the provision. We will see the protection. We will see God's love envelop us. And He will see us through this terrible thing. The problem is in this time in history, He didn't find anyone to stand in the gap. So my question is, will you stand in the gap? Will you stand and pray? Will you support the Lord in His righteousness and proclaim to the world that everyone needs to know this God of love? Everyone needs to submit their heart so that they too can be in this wonderful communion, this wonderful covenant with God who takes care of us. This word needs to go forth. People need to understand and know that there is hope. And we must stand in the gap. We must continue to pray for our land so that God doesn't have to say this about us. He looked and He found no one. May He find you. May He find me willing to stand in the gap and pray for this country, for this world, and for our own families. God bless you, and may you be safe during this time.